Welcome to Schoology Changing the Game. I am Natasha Monsas Daly, and I will be your facilitator or your host, whatever you want to call it, as you embark on this journey in blended learning. Just a little bit about blended learning before we get into really what this course entails. Blended learning, the concept is really that in most instances, the learning would be blended. So in some cases, learning happens in an online environment strictly, or in other cases, it happens into a face-to-face environment. Because this is the summer and we're embarking on this blended learning journey, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Most of the content will be delivered online, but you will find that we will be having an optional face-to-face session, which will also be hosted online, but it will be a time in which everybody is meant to be together. So let's say it's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning on such and such a date. And that will be determined once we get the participants in the course and we kind of figure out the flow and structure of the course. The real benefit to blended learning is that ability to, yes, do things in an online environment, but to build that community by also having those face-to-face interactions. And so some of that we're going to be a little bit limited, but just keep that in mind as you are thinking about what blended learning might mean in your own courses. As you can see with this course, the topic is Schoology and it's on changing the game. And I have modeled this course after the TV show Survivor, as you can see from my little icon up here. If you are familiar with the show Survivor, and which if you're not, you might want to get familiar. It's only been on for 30 seasons. Um, but it is one of my favorite shows, and what I like about it is that each week the participants are given challenges and they have to complete those challenges in order to stay on the island. Well, a couple things about this. You're not going to get kicked off an island, and you will still be able to eat and, hang out with your family and stuff like that. And at the end of it, Survivor, someone wins $1 million. I do not have $1 million, but the real reward in this is going to be your learning around Schoology. You really should, for this course, have a basic knowledge of Schoology, and hopefully you already have a Schoology course of your own. If you don't have a Schoology course of your own, it is still possible to participate. You may just find that you have a little extra work to do in some of the units in order to get caught up with everyone else. As you can see just by looking at the course folders, is that each week we're going to have a different topic, starting with week 1, which will just simply be our course introduction and what does this whole blended learning thing mean. But instead of making this course a bunch of how-tos about how to use Schoology or how to use the gradebook or attendance, this is instead organized into bigger themes or concepts that will really transform your LMS. So for example, talking about assessing for learning. That's a concept that can be done in Schoology, but how do we do that? So what you won't find in the Schoology course is a bunch of tutorials, although there are plenty of resources for you. But what you'll be thinking about is how can I do these or transform these concepts into my classroom to really make my learning management system and the content I'm delivering to my students more engaging and more interactive. Because that's truly a way to get to the whole concept of differentiation and personalization. Each week, as you can see by looking at these, there's the new concept or an idea. And you might find you really already know a lot about feedback and communication within Schoology, or maybe you already know a lot about differentiation. I'm going to ask that you still participate in those weeks to the best of your ability, because two things might happen. Someone might spark a new idea for you that you had not thought of in your own course, or you might spark an idea for someone else. Truly, the way that we learn in this environment is by our collaboration. So if someone's not participating in one of the weeks because they think they know all they need to know, then someone else is missing out on an opportunity to maybe learn from that person, or you might be missing out on an opportunity that someone might have a great idea for you. So you'll find a lot of the learning comes in collaboration in the form of a discussion. Now, I didn't want to use a discussion thread as the medium for all of our collaboration, but in a blended learning environment like this, it truly is the easiest way. But I've also tried to model how you might do some other types of discussion threads or posts, embedding Google Docs or presentations, embedding outside resources like Padlet Wall to ensure collaboration without using the discussion thread all of the time so that you can get some variation in your Schoology courses. One thing you'll notice is that if we click on the calendar here, just to give you a few logistics, is that all of the course material opens on a Saturday. And I shouldn't say open because it's all open for you to access, but this is really when it's meant to start. So for example, organization and design is meant to start on June 20th. That's when that week's activities or discussions will be open, and you'll be asked to participate in them. The only one that's different is the course introduction, which obviously starts on Monday. But the idea is that as you navigate through this, every Saturday will begin a new week of learning, and you'll have that entire week to go ahead and complete and participate in that learning with your peers. Even if you get a little bit behind, please continue to, there's nothing to say that you can't do things late. There's also nothing to say you can't do things early. But in the spirit of collaborating with others and really creating a learning community, I'm going to ask you that you do your best to stay on task from week to week. But obviously, it's summer, so if you're going to be gone or if you need to do something ahead of time, that's fine. But I guess I would say I would discourage working ahead on the course so that you're all the way complete by week 1 or 2, because then you miss on really that collaboration time and that learning from other people, which I think is really the most powerful part of this whole entire course. In the end, you'll have a final activity to do, and you'll be able to look at that once you get a little bit more into the course. If you're taking the course for St. Mary's Credit, you will find the information in the course introduction folder. And you'll also see in here that there's a rubric for a final grade. I'll use this rubric for 2 purposes: to either give you a grade if you're getting St. Mary's Credit, which you can see how that breaks down here, or to give you the clock hours that you would be receiving from Eden Prairie Schools. So I'll use this rubric for every one of the participants, regardless of whether you're getting clock hours or a grade from St. Mary's. And you can take a look at this rubric, which I strongly suggest you do, and just see what does it take to get the maximum number of CEUs or an A or whatever it is that you want to get out of this particular course. I mentioned a little bit that this course is modeled after the TV show Survivor, and the reason I've done that is because I have gamified this course. And by gamify, you have the opportunity each week to earn badges based on your participation. And each week is a challenge rather than it is me just putting content in front of you. So what it does is it takes Schoology and it transforms it from becoming a content repository to really becoming a truly interactive and engaging LMS. In the next video, I will talk a little bit more about what that gamification looks like, how we can use badges, and just really what's in each of the folders here. As you work through this course, I encourage you to ask questions of other participants. Really try to, even ask critical questions so that we can learn from each other, and ask questions of me. If you're getting behind, you're not sure you understand something, just ask a question, because there is a workaround for everything, and we can make sure that we get everybody everything they need. So I hope you are ready to do some learning and essentially play Schoology, changing the game.